Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glen.
He's my husband, Glen.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you miss any of our reviews. Tonight we are reviewing Ready to Love. Ready to Love, the season finale of this Ready to Love Potomac. So we're reviewing Ready to Love Potomac tonight. And we saw couples who really like each other. We was down to the final 6 because we know that in the last episode we saw Sabrina eliminate herself, and which means Demetrius had to eliminate himself.
So confusing.
I am confused
because she gave Donovan all this grief.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ready to love. I don't know. Only to say, well, I don't know about you either, Demetrius. Like, she made it like she was negating Donovan to focus on Demetrius, but then she was like, I don't know about you either.
She couldn't get past the whole submissive thing, and that was the biggest thing for her in my opinion. She couldn't get past the submissive role, and even when they talked about not taking on the spouse's last name, right? She didn't want to take it. I didn't take on my last spouse's last name. And he was like, look, I want my wife to take on my last name. She just gave him too many red flags, and he was still willing to say yes. Even if they would have said yes, I don't think it would have worked out anyway.
No.
So I'm kind of happy that they both decided to go their separate ways on this show. But we're down to 6. We're down to 6.
Oh, I wish we could stay there.
Go ahead. You want to stay? We stay. It's our show.
No,
it's our channel. Stay there
I
for
mean,
a minute.
yeah, I just y'all can put in the chat. I'll be really trying to understand why not take your spouse's last name. Like, y'all are coming together. I can even understand if you want to hyphenate it, because I did that. You know what I'm saying? But just not to take nothing. Like, I understood Demetrius' point. He was like, so if you don't change your name, I mean, we've done the ceremony and everything. We got a ring, but what actually shows and says that we have become one, like we've come together? And I know it's female independence, and you know, it just says like, okay, so have you left your father's house? Have you really, you know? And the proof is when you take your husband's last name, it's like, okay, I understand this chapter of my life has closed, and now I'm in this one. I hyphenated. This is the truth. I hyphenated it first, but not because I was like, oh, I don't want to not be a Holmes. I have friends that when they got married, they made their maiden name their middle name, which I'm not. I love my middle. I like the way my whole name flows, and then you know I like when I changed it. Even when I hyphenated, I liked the initial flow when I did initials, but I hyphenated because I was like, I felt like my name, Jackie, with our last name, I felt like it was like, that could be anybody. Like, I was going to get it mixed up. And so I said, I'll hyphenate it. I had more trouble with it hyphenated because I had people that had part of my last name, the front part, they had the end part with the Jackie. It was spelled similar to mine. I was like, huh. But it wasn't about not wanting to release that, you know, my father's name. It wasn't. It just flowed better to me.
I mean, I didn't mind if it was hyphenated, not as long as it was my name was my last name was at the end. That's all that mattered. And then when we had kids, that our kids would have my last name or our last name. That was the biggest difference there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Again, yeah.
You have kids,
and I know it's different. You know, times have changed, and people have different last names because you were married when you had kids, then you not married, or you remarried, and so it's not nothing for a parent not to have the same last. But it shows it's like a unity. You be team so and so because y'all all have the same last name.
It shows unity to me and cohesiveness, and make you guys again the two become one, and I think becoming better together. It shows again. It goes back to that submissive thing again. That not wanting to take it, not wanting to be quote unquote submissive and constantly be independent, and that we'll do a whole podcast or a show on submissive because it's a lot to that. Being submissive doesn't mean the man rules with an iron fist or the woman just has to do everything that he says to do. It is you submitting one to another and you respecting each other and you're reverencing each other, you're loving each other. And I use this example as I close as I move on, we move on with the review.
But yeah, I do want to. Not that conversation, but I want to
because
say,
when you submit to some other things, right? Because really, if we come home and I cook and you don't cook, you just submitted to me cooking. Mm-hmm. If we're going on a long trip, and you're sitting in the passenger seat and I drive, you just submitted to me allowing me to drive the car on this trip. So we submit in different areas in our relationship anyway. So that's just a whole different thing we'll talk about.
The only other thing I wanted to say is that you made a good point. It was like these was red flags for Demetrius. Yeah. Things that held weight to him. But even with that, he was willing to still deal with her, even though he was like, no, this is a firm for me. And so I think it's good that, because he would have been, she would have made him bend, and that's never good to have one spouse. She would have made him have to bend in her direction every time. But the one thing Demetrius said is, well, my journey started and ended with you. So the only reason he had to leave is because he didn't have nobody else.
He didn't have anybody else. And she had like 3 people that went down to 0. And so she's not a good, she's not a good selector of people, I guess, because Tori felt her because she chose Demetrius. And then then she had Donovan, that didn't work out. And then Demetrius didn't work out because she didn't want to be committed to him. So
that brings us to the 3 couples.
The 3 couples, or the 6 people. The 6 people. The 6 people that are left. That we have Joey and Clifton. Mm-hmm. We have Carmen and Donovan. Mm-hmm. You have Paul and Dakia.
Mm-hmm. P.O.
P.O.
Or P.O.J.
P.O.J.
However he's feeling that day.
However he's feeling that day. So we have these 6, and they have a brunch, and they meet with have a brunch, and to meet with Tommy. And Donovan said he's not happy about brunches anymore, but since the last time he had a brunch, Sabrina kind of threw him underneath the bus.
Absolutely.
Threw him underneath the bus, rolled the bus over him, and backed up. And so he was like, you know what, I'm not happy with brunches. Hopefully there's no surprises when we do this brunch. But Tommy comes in, he rolls in, and he lets them know that they're at the end of the process. Mm-hmm. They're at the end of the process, but there's one more thing they have to do. Mm-hmm. He threw a curveball even at the end. Since the men introduced the women to their families last week, it's time for the women to introduce the men to their family. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, oh boy.
Like, I never introduced anybody to my family.
To my family, yeah. And look, I enjoyed seeing the women introduce the men to their families. I thought it was all of them different and unique. Mm-hmm. I thought they were all forthright, and I thought it was really, you learned a lot, and you saw where family characteristic, and you learned more about the person. Mm-hmm. I learned more about Carmen by watching her mom and dad than I did throughout the whole season of the show.
Absolutely.
So let's since I mentioned that, let's start there. Carmen, mom and dad is there. Mom's a preacher. Mm-hmm. Dad's ex-military, ex-marine. Mm-hmm. And so their concern is that Donovan's going to treat Carmen correctly, treat her right.
Well, before that though, Carmen said, based on who they are and what they do, she was like, I know they gonna bring it.
They're gonna bring it.
I almost feel a little bit sorry for him. Yeah. But she was like, at the same time, I was like, yeah, ask it.
And they didn't disappoint. Mm-mm. They did not disappoint. As soon as Donovan sat down, he gave Mom some flowers. She shook Dad's hand. I mean, that was a great thing. He tried to shake Dad's hand. It took Dad a minute to stand up and shake his hand, but Dad shook his hand, and he just flat out asked him.
Well, first, Mom said, you got some points with me with the flowers, first of all.
And Dad was like, well, you can lose those points, too. he said, Donovan said, I'm trying not to lose those, but Dad said, you can't lose those. Try not to lose any. Dad came and started asking questions. He said, okay, do you have any kids? Mm-hmm. He like, yes, I have 2 kids. I have 2 children. He talked about children. Do you mind if...
Do they have the same mother?
Do they have the same mother?
He did ask that.
Yeah, he did ask
that. He said
no. No, he said no. Then he asked, well, what happened about discipline? What's going to happen in discipline? Is she going to be allowed to discipline your kids, your children? He was like, well, my kids pretty much behave. That's not the question at the table.
But what he was saying is, my kids ain't going to do nothing to get disciplined. But he said, he was like, I mean, she could talk to him, but she ain't going to have to. Yeah. Basically is what he said.
And then he asked, why are you still not married?
Yep, you were married before. What happened with that marriage?
You were like,
and Donna was like, bro, I'm going to have to say it.
Yeah.
Did you say infertility?
I did not say infertility. I said infidelity.
I was like, not infertility.
No, not infertility. No, infidelity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Dad was like, and Mom was like,
She was reading the whole time. She was letting the Holy Ghost move. She was discerning his spirit. She was looking. If you look at her, she was looking through him. She was looking through him and see what kind of spirit he was having.
She said, "What you say, Lord?"
Yeah, Lord. I hear you. But he talks about why he cheated on his wife, and Dad was like, "How come?"
Well, not why.
Not why.
I mean, he did say why, but
Why?
first of all, he was like, my marriage broke up because of infidelity.
Correct.
He was like, and he said it. I stepped out.
Mm-hmm.
And but he also explained that there were things that took place that caused that. It wasn't like I just stepped out.
Then like I just saw Big Button smile and just went.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Dad was like, well, if you cheated on your wife, how I know you're not going to cheat on Carmen?
Mm-hmm.
And I was waiting for Donovan to say, I'm more mature now, or, you know what I mean? I didn't hear that part, but what he said was, is because if we develop a trust, I'm not going to want to ruin that trust with her, if we in a place, I was like, okay.
He was giving an answer. I mean, he was honest. You can tell he was a little bit nervous, but he was answering the questions that they wanted to hear.
That's what I like. He wasn't shook, though.
He wasn't shook. He was a little nervous, but he didn't shuck and jive.
No.
He was honest, and he gave the honest answer, and he took full responsibility and accountability for his part and role in everything that was asked.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good there. Mom asked him about being religious. And he was like, I'm Catholic. No.
She said, how's your faith?
How's your faith?
How's your faith? He was like, well, I'm Catholic. She was
so,
like, but do you know the Lord?
Do you know Jesus?
She said, do you have a relationship with God? Do you know the Lord? Do you have a relationship with Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
And he was like,
something like that.
He said, I'm not like religious, like going to church, but I do have a spiritual connection. I'm connected with and Mom was like, denomination aside, I don't care nothing about that.
But you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes.
She looked at him, she's like, you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
She said, I just want to know, do you know God?
Do you know God?
Do you have a relationship with God? She was like, I don't care what denomination you're. Do you have Jesus in your heart?
She was but again, I felt like you.
She was sitting. Listen, and I ain't trying to be because I don't. She didn't explain why, but the mom came in a wheelchair, but she was sitting in that wheelchair like, she was reading that joke.
But I wanted to ask Carmen, do you have a relationship with God? How's your relationship? How's your walk?
I'm
wondering. Again, because again, it's unequally yoked, and that's a whole different dynamic that you can go down, that road you can go down. How can two walk together except they agree? But Mom was asking the question because she want to make sure that Carmen's natural as well as spiritual needs are met. And then in today's age, we see if you're in relationships with people, money, religion, and politics break up relationships. And she wanted to make sure that there won't be a religious hindrance in their relationship. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, whatever religion you are, that's what they want to make sure. She wanted to make sure that there will be some kind of foundation and some kind of ground to make sure Carmen is okay. And we don't know what happened in Carmen's past relationship that I can remember. If y'all know, please leave it in the chat. But we do know she have a child. So whatever it is, Mom and Dad they're looking out for their baby girl. Mm-hmm. Pops made me proud because it sounded like me sitting at the table talking to some dude. But like, what are your intentions? What do you mean? Can she be home here on time? Like, dog, where you going? That type of stuff,
I want to point this out too. The interesting part too is before Carmen came in, she said, I've never introduced somebody to both of my parents at the same time. Probably because she felt like this is going to be a lot.
It's going to be a lot.
So we're going to give it to them in small doses. I feel like
doses.
Mama was on her best behavior though. Dad went in.
Then he played around with him. After he felt comfortable, you can see the time change. He started joking with him and became comfortable. He
faked the handshake.
So he felt comfortable. So Donovan, I think Donovan did well meeting Carmen's mom and dad.
Yes, and they liked him.
Yes.
They liked him. The mom said his smile was infectious. Mm-hmm. His personality was infectious. She liked him.
Mom liked him so much that dad said, hold on for a minute. This Carmen boyfriend, not yours. Not yours.
She sure did. She was like, I can look though, okay?
I can't look, right?
I can acknowledge.
Acknowledge me. But
no.
Oh man, then we see Joy has her sister come, and her sister meets Clifton. And from as soon as Clifton walked into the room,
she was like,
yeah, she was like,
and when she heard him talk, she was like,
she about to look like she would have asked Clifton out herself.
I mean,
like, hold on, you got a brother?
She was
you got
like,
a twin brother?
Like she was gonna say, Joy leaving. She going out of the country.
She going out of the country. We still keep it all. We just keep it all in the family.
But she liked Clifton from the minute he walked in.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, the one thing is that Joy was like, I haven't been in a serious relationship.
About 10 years.
Her sister said that.
Yeah.
She was like, I haven't introduced. She was like, she said for a good little while. Her sister was like, 10 years, like a decade. Let's get it right. Yeah. I was gonna say it's been a minute, sis. Joy was like, yeah.
But she is in love with Clifton. He's in love with her. He talks about the way they talk about each other, the way they look at each other, the conversation, how he's grabbing her close, and either he's a really good actor or he's really smitten by this young lady. And so, as a sister, the biggest issue with them is this 6 months of separation, because she works in Mexico for 6 months, or she works for 6 months, and she's going to be leaving in about a week. And so she's getting ready to leave in about a week, and Clifton was honest. He's like, look, it's going to bother me. It does bother me. I don't like it. It bothers me. I like the relationship when I'm here, and I think I had the conversation with you. Was like, it's not like it's 20, 30 years ago where long distance relationship, you only had phone calls and you had letters. Now with Zoom, FaceTime, any other video chats that you want to talk to, at least you can actually physically see the person.
Yeah.
And I know it's not the same because you can't touch them.
And that's what Clifton said his thing is. I can't. I'm a affectionate. I'm a touchy, feely person, and she won't be where I can touch her.
Where I can touch her.
So yeah, he was like, I'm not gonna lie. It bothers. I don't like it, but. We'll have to see. Can we work it out?
And they meet up later on. Sister likes him. We got to that point. They meet up later on. Oh boy,
did she like him?
Yeah, they meet up later on. And Joyce, I'm gonna do everything I can to make it work out. If it does not work out, it's not gonna be because of me.
That's one thing she told her sister. She was like, basically, I'm fearful because she was like, it's real. Like, I know that he really likes me and I like him. And when she and Clifton sat down to talk, what she said was, my concern is that the distance is going to hurt you more than me. Mm-hmm. He was like, does that mean you ready to say goodbye? She was like, I can't say that now.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to feel when we actually leave each other, but I feel like it's hitting you now.
It's gonna hit me.
It might hit me later.
Yeah.
And it's hitting me that it's hitting you now.
Yeah. They did have a good, he said, yo, I'm ready to have sex. No, she said, I'm ready to have sex with you.
Yeah, she's She said have the sex.
Have the sex. He said, yeah, I don't mind having the sex neither. I mean, he was honest. At least they, goes back to what we thought when it was at the retreat. They had the sex, but they didn't have the sex while they were on the retreat. So
they might have had a sex. Just like the sex.
But he said he's gonna make sure before she leaves, it's gonna be taken care of. So. Look, you can tell they love each other. Wow. Hey, they was open to talk. Look, there's nothing wrong with them having open dialogue about their.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
Open dialogue about their sex life. What you thought I was going to say?
I don't know.
It's a family channel.
I know.
I go off the cuff sometimes, but not today. Not yet. Not yet. Not in this video. Not in this video. Anyway. Oh man, then we see Paul. And Dakia. Paul meets with Dakia's mom and her brother. Who is her twin. Yes. She looks just like her mother. She looks just like her mom. And Paul even complimented her mom on her beautiful looks and said that... the genes she passed along to Dakia. Passed along to Dakia. The biggest issue came up with him was the biggest question was about kids. Paul said he has 27-year-old twins. Which happened to be a year younger than Dakia's brother. And the kid's brother tried to be smart. He's like, do you have a PCP? Do you have a, primary care physician? Paul said, yeah, I have a primary care physician. I mean, what should I say? I'm going to die tomorrow? I'm old. Right. It's a 9-year difference. Dakia is 39 and Paul is 48. So there's a 9-year gap between the two. Truth be told, Paul might be trying to hit on mama. He could. That might even try to work out a little bit. You never know. But mom's biggest issue was her conversation was like, what's your credit score? Yeah. And she's like, you gonna ask the man his credit score? And Paul said, that's all right, that's fine. I'm in the 800 club. which that's a whole.
He said, I'm the person that they offered a very low interest rate to. I have excellent credit. When you see me walking in a sidewalk with that bop, you know, I ain't got no worries.
I ain't got no worries. So Paul, you know, mom liked Paul, brother liked Paul, but it was just like, it's new. It's new. Like we only known, the kids said we only known each other a couple of weeks and we're trying to work this thing out. It is new. That's
the one thing Paul asked. Have you ever seen her in a relationship where she stayed longer than she should have?
Yeah.
And they were like, nope. And the kid was like, no, because if it ain't working, it ain't working. And I'm not going to waste my time trying to force something that doesn't fit. So she said, I moves along. And he was like, okay, that said something to him that she was still, you know, dating him or whatever, getting to know him, that she wasn't in a place where she felt like,
Yeah. So, we see it becomes decision day. I don't know, decision day is the other show. What is decision day? They don't call it decision day. It is
decision time.
Decision time, right? It's decision time for these couples. All right, Paul and Dakia, let's start there. You know, we see Paul gets to the place first. Dakia comes out in a nice looking stunning red dress. Paul has some flowers. They converse back and forth just a little bit. And Paul comes out and he makes a decision. He look, doing this process was hard. I chose you from day one, as he says. But right now, I choose me. I choose me. And I'm not mad at him because he understood that, look, we're not there yet. We're still growing. And the kid was kind of happy too. She's like, you know what? I choose me.
Because this is what my husband and I talked about. Because remember, Tommy says at the end of this, who's going to leave out in a committed relationship? And what I told my husband was, before they said it, I said, I can see Paul and Dakia saying, you know, no, we're not going to be in a committed relationship because we haven't had that much time under our belt, but we'll still date and see, you know, but not exclusively like this is my boyfriend type of thing. And that's exactly what happened. Paul was like, you know, I like to, you know, still get to know you and see how this goes, but to say I'm committed to it today, I can't say that.
Yeah, Dakia said the same thing. I can't say I'm committed to you today is neither.
But her response sounded more like that. Like I don't even think I want to date you.
I wanted to hear her go first. I'm always just like, but she was like, her vignette was like, it's over.
Right.
Her vignette was like, okay, since you choose you, I choose me. We can be friends, but we're not gonna be in this. We're not gonna try to work on each other anymore. Hopefully, when the reunion comes, that they have worked on each other, that maybe be with each other, they maybe dated after the show. Which I don't understand why the show does this. If we don't say we're ready to love, then why can't we continue to date afterwards? I mean, you can, and I think you should, because at that point you're not committed to the love. We're gonna continue the process after the show.
Right.
So they both decided to, I don't know, be friends. I'm gonna say be friends. I ain't gonna say they both decided. They both decided to choose themselves. I'm gonna put it that way. They decided to choose themselves and to walk on into the sunset. No big whoop-de-doo, anything like that. It wasn't like this Walter and Sabrina where you thought, hey, by the way, dang.
Right.
No. Then we move on to Donovan.
It don't even matter where we go next because
Donovan and Carmen. It doesn't matter. Donovan chooses Carmen. Carmen chooses Donovan. Donovan was like, hey, I have a trip.
No, he said, I got a surprise
I got a surprise for you. She was like, oh.
I was like, I know it ain't no ring.
Heck no, ain't no ring.
I was like, nah, I know. It could have been a promise ring, but no, it wasn't. It was, he said, I got a trip wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go.
And she said,
he said,
but then he's like, hold on for me. I'm going to wait for your answer first.
Before I actually give it to you.
Before I actually give it to you. And she was like, yeah, you know my answer, yes. And she tongued him down. Did she? She tongued him down. She had a nice little peacock dress on, and it was nice.
They was like matching. He had his blue suit on. Yeah, she was I came ready.
I think they can work. I think they can work. He kind of balanced her out a little bit. She's still a boss. He does what he does. They believe he's in real estate. And like her friend said, I don't think he'll get jealous because of the circles that she in. Right. Or the guys that she deal with. And I think if he stays committed to her and treat her right, then she'll stay committed to him. Just by looking at her parents and the background that she comes from, I think that committed, being married for a long time and having a committed relationship, It's something that you see and that's ingrained in it.
That's the one thing I said from the previous episode when she met Donovan's mom, and even to this one. You know, we've seen the kind of like over the top, extra sexy, flirtatious Carmen. But when she sat down with his mom, I was like, oh, okay, now I can see what it is that he's seeing in her, not that surface stuff. Because she and his mom had a really nice conversation. She was giving up the goods on Donovan to Carmen. And I mean, they was just yucking it up, having a real good time. We got to see the more mellow Carmen when she met the parents.
She's mature. She knows what she wants. Mm-hmm. She's respectful. Yeah. You see all that when she's dealing with the guys, because that's who she is. In her relationship, she's flirtatious. She's quick-witted. When they come back with the sexual comment, she can bounce one back and like, okay, you want to do sexual comments? We can do sexual comments. Mm-hmm. If you want to romance, we can romance. If I want to be vulnerable to you, I can be vulnerable. We saw that when her and Donovan was sitting at the when they was on a retreat, and she had her feet up on him. He was rubbing her feet. So she knows how to maneuver in every area, and she can adapt to that. And you know, and he's ready. He has to be ready to take on a boss, because she's a boss chick.
She is.
She's a boss, and he's going to be able to have to handle her bossness.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling this match, honestly. But in the last 2 episodes, I was like, okay.
I mean, I still think if Eric would have stuck around, she'd have chose Eric over Donovan.
Probably, yes.
I still do believe that Eric was her like number one, but because Eric is gone and he left the process, she had to find somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I think her somebody else was Donovan, much more than Paul, who was the other choice. Mm-hmm. So Donovan was, you know, I don't want to say by default, but by default. So, and then we move on to the couple which everybody knows. They had to say yes if you was blind, and if they didn't say, I think people were going to like throw cheers at the TV or something. But
lame, boo, tomatoes, I'm throwing tomatoes.
But nah, Clifton and Joy both say yes. Clifton take her to a winery overlooking, I guess, the Potomac, Maryland. I didn't get a chance to look at where the winery's at, but overlooking some nice land. Joy comes in and he was like, And every time he greets her, y'all gotta.
He was like, when they was in a restaurant before, he said, I get goosebumps on the back of my neck every time you come in. And when she walked in, he was like, I feel like if she came in a muumuu, he would be like, whew.
I know the feeling. When you walk in the room, I get goosebumps. Even after 20 years. You can do what you want to do. When a man knows that he loves somebody, or he cares about somebody, don't care if you wearing a muumuu, it doesn't matter if you wearing a sack, it doesn't matter if you butt naked, it doesn't matter if you wearing whatever case may be. When you walk in a room, if a man really loves you, his emotion, his feelings change. And so you can look at it at the camera like you don't want to laugh, or you don't want to take my compliment.
I'm gonna laugh.
All you want to. But when you walk in the room, when somebody who really loves you, it makes your heart flutter. It makes the hair stand on the back of your neck. Especially when they enjoy spending time with you and having company. And like he said, she's his best friend. And Clifton used the love word.
Yes.
And he used the love word. So when you love her, I don't mind. I ain't even mad at bruh. Because I know how bruh feel.
It's just that you be so extra sometimes.
I'm not extra.
Yes.
I'm not extra.
It's to me.
To you?
It's extra.
Man, I mean, it ain't extra.
It's like, anyway.
That's a whole different part. Don't give it. I ain't
gonna give it away.
I'm not extra.
I just be like, Jesus, see, that's the that's the Lord.
That's my calendar that just fell off the wall.
No,
I'm leaving this in there.
I'm just saying. I don't know what the Lord is saying.
He's telling you stop playing. He's telling you stop playing.
I'm not playing. Maybe he's telling you stop playing.
I'm telling you not playing. I enjoy it.
Oh my God. Yeah, something literally just fell off the wall. I know y'all heard that. But anyway, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it.
It's my big wall calendar in my office, so it's fine.
Oh my gosh.
But Joy and Clifton, they can see the romance, see the love. And I hope when we get to the reunion that the 6 months don't make a big difference in their relationship.
I hope so.
I hope they still together. Joy said yes to Clifton. Clifton said yes to Joy. But the key part is they liked each other from day one.
Yes.
But they was committed to the process.
This is the conversation we had.
Yeah.
What is the difference between Joy and Clifton versus Camille and Cornelius.
And Vernisha and Joel.
Vernisha and Joel. And I told my husband, I said, the difference is that Joy was still open to Clifton exploring other options. Clifton was open to Joy exploring other options, but they still know they would came back. It wasn't like, don't touch him, don't talk to him, don't mess with him, don't eliminate him, keep my man. It was none of that stuff. It was none of that stuff. And even with Vernisha and Joel, it wasn't as like negative the way. It was just everybody with them recognized, which side note, I'm still mad that didn't work out. But
I'm not mad because, again, as watching her and listen, she didn't want to deal with a 40-year-old rapper. A guy who's trying to be a rapper now at 40 years old. It is. Yeah,
but I'm saying just the way it went down, like when it came to reunion, it was like, gosh, dog.
You know, she was.
It like literally fell apart.
He changed.
But so the thing with Vernisha and Joel was like everybody just knew. They was like, we not trying to interrupt it. Like everybody was like, it's beautiful, you know, that kind of thing. And so that was a difference. We saw some of that with Joy and Clifton too. You know, where people was like, oh, we know y'all. But at the same time, they was like, I'm still gonna try to, you know, get to know you and talk to you.
Because Joy was confident in her. Because even when you saw when they went on a date with Akia, she was confident. I'm not here to try to compete with her or fight. I know what we have. I know what is true, and I know what is good. If he decides to choose somebody else, that's
fine.
That's fine too. When you have someone who's confident in themselves, they don't have to knock everybody else out. They don't have to joke on everybody. They don't have to threaten everybody else. They don't have to do all this other stuff because, again, they're confident in their relationship. They're confident in what they have. And the other couple wasn't confident. She wasn't confident in what she had. He wasn't for sure because if you watch some of the vignettes, he wasn't for sure if he wanted to be with her. Now, granted, they're still together now and that works out. That's perfectly fine. All good, right? But during that process, she was scared as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs that he was going to pick somebody else other than her. Or that she was going to get eliminated and sent home. Because when the time that she was in the bottom, she gave nasty attitude. She was rude. And it's not all that's not character and all that's not acting. So it is what it is. And so...
Right. So that's why I said that's the difference with Clifton and Joy is they still did the process.
They still did the
process.
And
they still allowed each other to do the process. That's how Clifton and Dakia got close like they did to the point where Dakia's feelings was kind of hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the difference. But we all knew they were going to say yes to each other.
They say yes to each other. It was nice. It was beautiful. We'll see how the reunion shapes out because the reunion looks a little bit interesting next week. It looks like it's going to have us a little bit of fireworks and we get to learn what happened to everybody afterwards. So please... We're gonna do a reunion special. We're gonna talk about the reunion. This ain't the end of it for this season of Ready to Love Potomac. But it's gonna be. I'm waiting for the reunion because we get to see my man Laverne. We get to see
with the shorts
on. We get to see him and Precious. The situation. And we get to learn a little bit more about Sabrina and how she went from 3 to 0. You know what really happened to Tori.
She's still gonna be throwing the shade.
What really happened to Tori? Confidence after Truth or Dare, right? So it's a lot more. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered at this reunion. So we'll see.
Yep.
But, hey, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you miss any of our reviews. Ready to Love, man, Potomac. 3 couples. Well, 2 couples. 2.5.
2.5.
2.5. Let's see.
2 and a possible.
2 and a possible. Let's see if this couple can still stay together after they select each other. Let's see if these couples can stay together.
Yep.
We'll see. Hey, y'all have a great day, night, whenever you're watching this.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.